Hey everyone, welcome back to a special Facebook Live edition of the Drury Outdoors 100% Wild podcast. We've got a full house today. I'm your co-host Tim Chelsvik. Next to me, as always, Mr. Matt Drury.
Hello, hello. And we got two special guests. So one of them is Mark Drury, who we see from time to time here on the podcast. But probably the most important guest we've ever had is my grandma, Mark and Terry's mother, Lucille Drury. What's up, Grandma? Thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here. Hope I do okay.
Yeah, you see, the beauty of a podcast, there's no right or wrong answer here. So we're just going to have fun and hang out, and we're going to get some scoop on Mark and Terry and just how good or maybe bad they were when they were kids.
I'll try to answer some of them.
and even a little behind the scenes on a mistake that Mark made when you guys were out hunting this past fall.
Yeah, we're going to be a little bit unique in the fact that we're bringing two different hunts here within the live that haven't even hit TV yet.
Yeah.
We did a little bit on them in DeerCast, but we're going to do something different. Mom went hunting this past fall with us, and she killed a great deer, and we had another mishap that we're going to show both of those scenes here before this is over with. So hopefully everybody enjoys that.
Yeah, so, hunting with Mark, you've done it a couple times here in the last few years, right, where you've gone deer hunting with Mark.
Yes, I have.
And so I know what it's like to hunt with Mark. Tim doesn't. What were your thoughts after spending a couple different seasons with him? The first, 2 years ago, it was your first time hunting in maybe a long time. I know you had maybe killed a doe a few years back.
Few years, yeah.
Yeah,
it's been several years, yes.
And she killed the first night that year. This year we killed on the fourth morning, and she sat out there some incredibly cold temperatures, 11 degrees in the morning, 14 degrees in the morning. We were sitting almost all day. So
mighty cold.
I was sure proud of her.
So he tortured you, didn't he?
Yes. At first he didn't tell me what the temperature was, and then finally I said, "What is the temperature anyway?" And I think that morning it was 10 degrees. I said, "Oh my gosh."
You probably wouldn't have been doing that for anybody other than Mark.
I would have had to think secondly. But it wasn't bad. I had some real good boots, and I was dressed for the occasion. We robbed Taylor's closet and dressed me, and had her put a pair of her brand new lacrosse boots. They did the job. I never got cold feet or anything.
Good.
Just my fingers.
Yeah, that's usually the first thing to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. She was a trooper. I was so proud of her. We saw a lot of deer, didn't we?
We did.
So I'm intrigued by this story of Mark not being prepared, because he was an Eagle Scout. We've always been proud of the fact that, Eagle Scouts be prepared for every situation. But here's one instance where he kind of screwed the hunt up, didn't he?
Well, I think it was an accident, really, because we had done practice on Saturday, and then this was 3 or 4 days after that. So, yes, it was a slip-up.
So, to frame it up, we'd been hunting, and she'd been having trouble getting the deer in the scope. Like, we'd seen some nice bucks, and we were trying to get them on film and whatnot. And I think it was the evening of day 3, we went out for an afternoon hunt, and we said, let's do some practicing aiming again. We had practiced a few days before, so, look at that fence post. Can you find it, Mom? Look at the trail camera. Look at that tree, So we did that for 30 minutes, to get the target acquisition through the scope. So then a shooter walks out, and, we did all that with the gun unloaded. And, of course, then the shooter walks out. And we should probably just go to the footage.
Yeah. All right, so Joe, roll the footage for us here.
This is going to be that first scene, Mom. There
Okay.
it is. Just a giant 10-point. Wade's filming, and I'm trying to help Mom. She gets on him. Kill him.
It's a good
Kill him.
looking deer.
Oh, yeah.
And
there you hear that dreaded click. Now listen. That one's on me.
no shit. Oh, my God. I had him. What happened?
I just didn't load it. I completely forgot to load the gun.
Oh.
Mama wasn't happy with number 5 at that time.
We probably should have put a PG-13 rating on this.
I think so.
That was classic.
I really think
That's a first in Drury history. Might as well be Mom.
Yeah. You really screwed up, mister.
Oh, I screwed out.
That was a nice deer.
It would have
absolutely.
been my deer. I had it. I thought, I got it. I got it. I got it.
So you had it in the crosshairs
did.
of that Leupold scope.
I did. Yes.
Yeah.
And I just knew I was already getting excited. I knew I had it.
Well, this is all in Missouri, right? So
Yeah, it was in Missouri. Yeah.
hopefully there's another invite back, and he's just bigger next year.
We've since nicknamed that deer Unloaded. So he didn't have a name. He does now. And I felt about that big in that moment because I knew she had it. I mean, she was dead steady, and I was watching her, and she pulled that trigger so slow, and I heard that click, and I knew what happened.
So
I felt terrible.
He apologized. He said, "That's my fault."
yeah, we heard your reaction to that.
She was like, "Yeah, it wasn't mine."
So is Terry your favorite son now?
I have no favorites.
Oh, come on.
Except for Terry.
Oh, it was a priceless memory, though. I mean,
yeah.
I hated it, but her reaction was priceless, and makes
Yeah.
good Facebook, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
do
funny.
something with
It was
lemonade,
fun
lemons.
with it. We laughed about it because
Yeah.
I thought, well, it's just a deer. Maybe it'll.
That's
maybe I'll-
right. That's
Yeah.
not the point of the hunt. The point of the hunt's to have fun and to be with family or friends or whatever. So you got to experience that, and you ended up still taking a really nice deer at the end of
yes,
the trip too, didn't
the next day.
She did. And, I felt bad because she'd been going through all that cold weather. And she's 85. So, you look at the hunt and you think, well, that's, they're out there hunting, big deal. Well, just the dressing and getting to the stand and then getting up in the stands was a challenge for her. And some of the blinds I had her in weren't the easiest, most ergonomic blinds to get into. And I was so proud of her.
I will ask not to be put in some of those blinds. I mean, you went straight up this little hole, pitch dark. I had not been in that stand before, and I was like, well, I can't see, I can't feel.
Early morning, and she got up and then crawled in
Yeah.
and then kind of got wedged against the
There
wall.
was
And I was
nothing
laughing
that-
so hard I couldn't get her up. She started laughing.
He said, "Mom, you're kicking me."
Yeah, her feet were kicking my head as I was trying to get up to help her. Her feet kept going bump, bump, bump.
So we're going to allow folks that are watching on Facebook to ask us questions. So if you're on Facebook Live right now watching us, feel free to ask a question. We'll be happy to pass it along.
Absolutely.
Anything interesting come through yet?
Linda popped on. She said hello.
Oh,
Oh,
Number one.
good,
Yeah.
Linda.
Yep. Tracy just said, hey, Mama Lucy.
so
Oh, Tracy,
our biggest fan base has always been our family.
100%.
as you can tell.
And so anytime that you see our videos or our posts, a lot of times you'll notice, especially over in DeerCast or on Facebook, that Grandma actually comments
try.
on a lot of them.
I try, but I have a problem with that too.
Hey, I think it's awesome. So any of you guys giving us crap on here, just watch out. Our grandma, our mom's
Lucille will
watching.
be after you.
Jeff Yelton says, love the OS moment.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
better was the look she gave him.
The look.
Which doesn't show up in a transcript of the hunt. You can
I
tell
knew what it meant.
exactly what it meant.
You've seen it before.
Especially the look away from me. Like, I got the cold shoulder and back and everything all at once.
One of the funny things about aging I found is that my mom will always be my mom, no matter how old. I just turned 40, and my mom still tells me to be careful when I leave the house and call when you get there and all those things. So I'm curious, Mark, when else in your life had you seen that same look from your mom?
Oh,
When
I
haven't
was-
you?
Yeah, when I was probably a senior, still at home and come in with maybe a little beer on my breath or something. She's got the best nose. She's better than a deer, man. 1 o'clock
where
in the
you've
morning,
been.
I'd get in at curfew or whatever. She'd come back, were you drinking? So I don't know if she was a good guesser or just had a good nose,
Both.
I know the
probably.
look.
I always remember the story that Dad always said that you could hear him coming down Breeze Hill, which is how many miles away is Breeze Hill from?
7, 8,
7, 8
probably.
miles.
Probably.
You could, when he was in high school, you could hear
Yes.
that car he had, kind of a
It's a dune
souped up
Dune
dune buggy
Dune buggy.
coming down that hill.
I'd think, boy, now I can go to bed. I hear him coming. He's on his way.
So I want to know, of the two boys, and I know there's no favorites, but of the two boys, which one was more trouble when they were growing up?
Well, I kind of think maybe Terry.
I kind of think you're probably right.
We had Mark spoiled, I think. or
was
so
just
they
smarter.
blame. Or so they
I
blame
hid
me.
stuff better.
Yeah.
No, I would say equal. They only now in life, a lot of things they're telling me that I had no clue.
Things you'd probably rather not have known.
We got past that
Probably.
grounding age, and full disclosure,
Yeah.
you won't believe what we did.
I'd say, you're kidding me, and I didn't scent it. So
Under your nose the whole time.
right, correct.
One of our Facebook Live viewers says that, Lucy, you should load Mark's gun this coming season.
I
keep
may
things
learn
even.
how.
I think you should.
So while we were talking about some of the younger years, so I always found it interesting. Grandpa didn't really hunt at all. So
No, he did not.
these boys learned, Mark and Terry, they learned to hunt and small game type of stuff in large part from you, and on their own a lot, but from you as well, because you grew up on a farm, right?
Correct.
So kind of tell us a little bit about, the kinds of things that you had to do when you were growing up, and then how you passed on that knowledge to the boys.
Well, we had a farm, so we had milk cows, and we had no electricity, so we had to milk these cows every morning, which there was 21, I think. And that was 7 days a week, morning and evening. So that was a big thing, and we hauled hay, throw down
And
silage.
4 girls,
Yeah,
I
you had no
had
brothers,
no
all
brothers.
sisters.
4 sisters.
4 sisters. So that was kind of interesting. But I enjoyed the hunting. I used to go with my father, and I always had to carry the game. So we were squirrel hunting, and you make this stick to put your squirrels on. Well, somehow I lost one of the squirrels.
Great grandpa knew about that, huh?
And you would have thought it was the end of the world. We backtracked, but we never did find it.
Well, I think the important thing there is back then that was dinner, right?
that was
that was
sustenance. Oh, yeah,
that
yes.
was necessity.
We lived on a lot of game, wildlife, and also our own cattle and pigs. We butchered and had cattle. But yeah, we ate a lot of wildlife.
Mom taught me how to clean my first rabbit. She taught me how to clean my first squirrel. When I first started turkey hunting, I wasn't old enough to drive. At age 14, she'd drop me off at 4:30 in the morning. She'd get up, take me to where I was turkey hunting, and we had no cell phone, so I'd just stay there till noon, the closing time in Missouri at that time. She'd be there at the pickup spot, and I'd jump in my camo and shotgun, and she'd take me back. So she was my driver until I turned 16.
Never had a turkey there with him, did he?
No, never got a turkey.
Lucille, I'm
me a little
curious. When did you start to really believe that maybe Mark and Terry might really do something with this hunting? Because most people can't and don't do it for a living.
I would have never, ever dreamt, and especially using his name, M-A-D, Mark Allen Drury. Never thought it would be a famous name one day. But he did always like to use the mouth calls. We would hear him morning, evening, and night when he was there.
How annoying was
And
that?
No, I enjoyed it. I always said, well, that's music to the ear, but his dad wasn't too.
Dad never liked it.
It was too much noise.
It
But-
bugged. Big Ralph.
I could imagine.
And I would do it like nonstop.
In the
but
shower,
she always liked it,
no
so I
matter-
learned to not do it when Dad was home.
Sure.
Well, and he had maybe worked 10, 12
Yeah.
hours, always. He worked awful long, hard hours. And so we tried to hold it down when we could, the noise.
Especially if he was sleeping.
Yeah.
Oh.
That never went over well.
Yeah, don't wait that.
Yeah. I remember Dad telling me a story. At one time, Grandpa was sleeping on the couch, and I guess, I don't know, maybe he had his arms up like this, and Dad stuck his finger in his armpit and woke him. And he said he come after him like you'd never imagine.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
a big guy, too.
Don't
Well,
poke
he-
a sleeping
Poke
bear.
the bear, yeah.
He was very jumpy because he worked around heavy equipment and dynamite, and so he was very jumpy when he was asleep. He'd always
Yes.
say, "You kids don't get around me now, or keep the grandkids away." So I don't, haul off and hit them.
He
Accidentally.
would accidentally
Punch a
hit
top
whoever was within arm's reach.
Yeah, it was a lot of
He was
jumping.
He was
like
always
Jump.
jumpy.
Oh yeah. But
Lucille,
was-
one of our Facebook viewers is asking if you ever let the boys skip school to hunt.
I did when we had high water in St. Genevieve. They would say they're sandbagging, but
Literally.
I don't think they ever made it to the sandbag because we had to write and send our approval,
Okay.
and which I thought it was a good cause to help the people. but
Mark and Terry didn't.
Oh, yeah, we did. We did.
partially.
She was never quite sure, but we did.
Well, I don't know. I think Terry liked to skip it.
I was gonna say I don't know about that.
No offense, I don't want to knock Terry.
Full disclosure, Bill Martin was my first hour physics teacher when I was a senior, and he would not mark me as tardy or absent, and I skipped first hour every day of my senior year because Bill taught me how to turkey call. I used to go to competitions with him. We turkey hunted together, and he never did. He just let me go hunt.
Co-conspirator.
God rest his soul. Bill was a tremendous,
Yes, he was.
friend of mine.
Couldn't get away with that today.
No, we couldn't.
And every article he wrote was on hunting.
For school, like
For
all of the
school,
school papers
yes.
and everything.
All the papers, yeah.
You don't still have those around, do you?
I don't think so.
That would be interesting.
She sent me one not long ago, and it was from 6th grade, and it was a paper, like an essay I had to write, and it was on the wild turkey back in the 6th grade. It was so weird. I was
Yeah.
fascinated by them, a lot because of Uncle Leroy, Uncle Marvin. You know, they would kill their turkeys, and they'd bring them down to school and show everybody, and it just those birds always fascinated me, and I caught the bug at an early age, and by and large, I think because of those early impressions of those, they would take their time if they killed a turkey to come show every child at school. So I thought that was pretty cool because they were my uncles bringing the turkeys in.
Yeah,
So,
that's cool.
I think some still do that, bring their wildlife to show the children. There's a lot of them.
And we're from a very small town, Bloomsdale,
Bloomsdale's
400 people. So that's what small towns are really all about.
fabric of America.
Yeah,
Yep. Brad was wanting to know who started hunting first, Mark or Terry.
at an age, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Probably
I
started
guess-
at similar ages because you were only
I
allowed
think-
in the 40 Acre Club about the same age. I'd say we both started when we were probably 12, 13, something like that, I would guess. But Terry's 10 years older than me, so.
Okay.
I would say same age,
Yeah.
or close to.
And then Brian is asking Lucille specifically if you could choose any big game animal in North America to hunt, what would you want to hunt?
I think I'll satisfied with with the smaller game. I don't know about the bigger game.
So like a whitetail, you're saying?
Yes, the whitetail.
That's big game.
I mean, yes, the whitetail.
Whitetail.
I've enjoyed that.
She ended up killing a nice one. Should we go to that right now?
Sure.
With that question, that's a good segue into what I actually had the gun loaded this time.
Take two.
Same stand, same decoy set. And,
Day later.
Day later. It's coming here.
See, I can't see the movie.
He's just approaching the decoy now. Look at her aiming. Had a doe decoy out, and he really played the game.
Really posturing there. Isn't it?
Yeah, beautiful sun, morning hunt, 14 degrees. And I mean,
Whenever you're ready. Yeah, we should kill him. Whenever you're ready.
watch this shot.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Oh,
Smoked.
through the heart.
I can't believe it. We got a
Good job.
Oh my God. I was right on him. I mean, unless,
No, you got him perfect.
We finally found one to walk slow.
I'm so excited.
yeah, he didn't just quite, well, he stopped for a moment.
He's a beautiful buck, too.
Oh my God.
Isn't he pretty?
Yes.
Big 8.
Oh,
This
I
is
got to
great.
see him.
He didn't go but about 80 yards.
All right. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Cool.
Went 80 yards, short recovery. We went down there and just enjoyed the day then, didn't we? Then
Yes,
Terry
we
came
did.
and surprised her. He drove 2 hours
Yes.
to come surprise her. That was fun.
That's awesome.
He said every when there's a special occasion, we go out to dinner. So we went to Des Moines and had dinner.
Nice.
It
Very
was
nice.
a nice, plush restaurant.
went to Fleming's, enjoyed a steak and toasted mom, and
Very,
she said
very nice. evening.
congratulations.
Good. So what was the feeling, that you had once it all came together? Because this is the longest you had hunted. The consecutive days, the harsh conditions. What kind of feelings did you have once you pulled that trigger and you knew you made the good shot?
I think I got more excited with the second deer than I did the first. The first deer, it was like, I killed a deer. I mean, I said, I don't think I'm making a hunter because I didn't shake. And they all said, you get so excited, your heart's pumping hard. But I didn't have that. But this second one, yes. I got really emotional and excited. So it was a nice time.
The rest of her reaction will play out on 13 this summer, but it gets quite emotional there before it's over with. We saved a little bit for TV this summer.
Nice.
But she got pretty emotional in the blind.
It was very exciting.
Her nerves had kind of taken over at that part.
And I feel like I learned more about the hunting and what all and how. You have to be quiet.
So let's get into that part a little bit. So one of the stories that I had gotten wind of was that throughout, so you wear hearing aids, and
Yes.
throughout your hearing aids, that the ones you had at the time weren't working overly great. And so Wade and Mark would maybe see a buck coming, and they're on both sides of you, and they knew it was coming, and they had said it was coming, but you didn't hear them. So maybe, a little bit later you'd be, hey, here's a nice deer, he's coming, but the level in which you were speaking was kind of loud.
I didn't realize that I was loud. I just thought I was whispering. It didn't set in well.
We had a really, really big one in, and we'd had several shooters over the first couple, 3 days, and we just weren't getting our signal straight, and few heard us, a few saw us.
Tensions were getting high, I assume.
Tensions were getting high. And we had a big one on the field tending a doe, and I mean a real big deer. And Wade said, those does are about to clear. Can you please get your mom to stop talking? Because she hadn't even seen the big buck yet, and she's talking about the does and talking out loud, and she doesn't realize it,
I was narrating the whole thing.
Wouldn't it be nice if we killed a deer right now?
And
they don't like the
didn't
decoy. Oh, they do like the decoy when she narrate the whole thing.
Here I was telling them, and they should have been telling me, instructing me, but I was telling them. So I was narrating.
So I leaned over and I grabbed her arm and I said, please be quiet.
Mom, be quiet. You're talking out loud.
And she looked at me, and I had another one of those looks.
No, you don't.
And the deer got away. And then she sat there. She wouldn't talk, because I probably was too harsh in the moment. Okay.
No,
not me.
Not scold your parents.
Whisper yelling. So
Never goes well.
I said, you're not talking, Mark. What's wrong? She said, I'm aggravated. And I said, what are you aggravated at? She pointed at Wade, and she pointed at me. She said, I'm aggravated at you and you. And she sat there in silence the rest of the evening.
Yeah.
So I didn't talk.
That'll fix him. So what were you thinking about that time when he grabbed your arm and the boy that you raised and all this advice you've given him through the years, and here he is?
It was a look I've never seen before. And I thought, oh my gosh, he's serious.
The stakes are pretty high, right?
I wanted her to succeed, and
Yeah.
I knew what was happening because the does are 15 yards, and she just wasn't aware of them hearing the volume at which she was talking. So, and I knew she wasn't hearing our normal whisper, so I elevated my whisper a little bit.
Well, and he was on the left, and Wade was on the right with the camera. So I was sitting there. I couldn't turn, or all I could see was straight ahead.
Yeah.
But they didn't realize that their bodies were hiding my view, because they'd say, don't you see that? There's one coming in. And, of course, I couldn't till it was right in front of me.
Yeah.
So anyway, but it was very interesting. I feel like I learned, each time I learned a little more.
Learned a little bit about Mark that day and just what the rest of us have gone through over the years.
I thought, well, it's just a deer.
Taylor calls it whisper yelling.
Yeah. Anybody that's ever hunted with Mark knows that it gets very intense at the moment of truth, no matter what the game is, turkey, deer, whatever it is. It gets really intense right there at that moment every single time. So Grandma got a good dose of it.
But they were good sports. They were patient. Never gave up on me.
We weren't giving up. It was supposed to just be a couple-day hunt, and I kept saying, just stay one more day, Mom. Stay one more day,
When I had heard that story, I thought, well, that's the end of it. Just knowing, Grandma, how you probably would be about that moment with Mark, like, yeah, this might be, I've had enough.
I thought, this is it. I'm going home. He talked me into it, and I'm glad I stayed.
Good.
I think it was the next morning then we killed the one. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the next morning, so ended up really good.
So-
and since then she's got new hearing aids, and now she hears everything. Like even if
Pretty
I'm
well.
whispering, she hears much better now. So
You gotta be careful what you say.
Yeah, exactly.
Any more questions from the world out there?
There's a lot of add a girl, and Terry looks just like his mama.
Yeah, I could see that.
What about next year, Lucille? Do you think you'll be back in a deer blind again?
I probably will, if depending what blind he puts me in.
Need to put her in the muddy penthouse.
Oh yeah, that's where she killed that oven.
Yeah, I said, why did you not put me in this one before?
Maybe she'll be hunting with Terry next year.
Yeah.
So I explained wind directions, and we got to go to a safe wind direction. So
Which I wasn't really aware that it has to be a certain wind and
Oh,
where you
sure.
sit. So I did learn a lot.
she liked that particular muddy penthouse, and
Well, sure.
we need a north or northeast or a northeast or an east. Anything out of that direction, then we're going back to that spot next year, and we're going to practice even more. And I've got a new scope. I looked at the Leupold booth at SHOT,
Yeah.
and Mike Winnicky took me through, and he goes, "This would probably be the one she needs." So I'm going to make sure we got a little bigger field of view for her, and we'll hopefully work on target acquisition.
Talk to Winchester about
Yep.
their selection of ammo and what might
Yep,
work there for
exactly.
less recoil. And
Yep, we're all set.
Yeah.
So I hope she comes back at age
I'm gonna
86.
try.
We're going to top
Yeah, I'll
top
be-
the last two.
In April, I'll be 86, so who knows for my health and my arms. I have trouble with my shoulders, but otherwise, I'll manage.
Willa just popped in and she said Terry wants you to come turkey hunting with him.
I was about to just say that. I hope you come
And I
into
was
turkey
going to
camp.
cover that. I was how I enjoyed hunting with Terry, and it was a lot of fun. And we fished and we hunted, and it was. I don't think I'll ever try harvesting a turkey. There's just not enough there to to hit.
Well, it's a bigger
That
pattern, but
hand.
we worry about. She's had shoulder issues
Yeah.
through the years, and we worry about that recoil.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to put too much recoil, across those shoulders.
We even fished. Terry has several ponds, so we went fishing. We cleaned the fish, we fried them, and ate them.
It was pretty fun.
perfect.
That was
It was
pretty
a good
fun
time.
couple
We had
days.
a really good time.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be there with my family.
That's
it was
right.
Cameron, and I think Lola was just born or
Mm-hmm.
a few months old. So we were there
Yes.
while you came out and got to experience camp with you. And the morning that Dad killed a bird, you were with him, and
Yes.
Mom was with him. And I had actually killed one as well with Chad Kilmer and
Yes.
Chris Comstock. So we got to take pictures together, and it was pretty cool moment.
Yeah, 4 generations.
Yeah, we had Cameron, Grandma,
Mm-hmm.
Terry, and myself all in the picture together, so it was pretty neat.
Yeah, it was a fun time. We enjoyed it. So,
Spring is
I'll
a
probably-
beautiful time of the year.
yes.
Absolutely. Tay just hopped on and says she loves you, Grandma.
Oh, and I love her. Tell her we're counting down.
Counting down to that wedding.
Wedding's 2 weekends away. Is that right?
March
2 or
9th,
three?
so 3, I think.
Yeah,
3 more weekends. Getting close.
Wow.
and we like to party, so we're
Gaining
gonna-
a son-in-law.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good time that day.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, anything else we should cover here while we got Grandma with us?
You got anything else you want to talk about, Mom?
I have a very supportive family. I have 5 children, 2 boys, 3 girls, 13 grandchildren, and 31 great-grand. So we are a very close-knit family. And I've enjoyed all the support they've given me. And I hear from somebody every day by phone call or whatever the case may be. And I appreciate that. I love them all. So we hope we keep adding more.
There
In
you go.
fact, yeah, we have them.
Well, there's
Christine.
one expecting now,
Yeah.
Christine. So, and she spends a lot of time on Facebook, so she watches all the Drury posts. She's
Yeah.
on DeerCast a lot, and she's active there too. So she does a super good job.
Yep.
Our
so-
front line of defense.
That's
certainly.
right. So if anybody's coming after us, they gotta answer to Grandma.
Look out, huh?
That's right.
Perfect.
Well, thanks for joining us. It was awesome. I'm glad you got to come into the studio and kind of experience one of our days, day in the life
It's
of.
very interesting. I like when they have the live sessions on. I try to. A lot of times he'll clue me in, or somebody will, Terry or Mark, and I will make sure I watch them. So
There you
Good.
go.
Appreciate it. Well,
I enjoyed. It was a
Good.
nice visit.
Thank you.
perfect. Thank you. It's great having you on. And if folks have not already subscribed to the show, we do this pretty much every week.
Yeah.
There's different guests, and we talk about hunting and land management and really anything else that you're interested in. So if you're not already subscribed to the show, you can do that via Apple Podcasts or Google Play Store, pretty much anywhere you get podcasts. You can also watch us on YouTube. You can watch this show in the DeerCast app. There's really no place where we ain't.
Unfortunately for you all.
For better or worse. Yep.
So we always got cool stuff going on. Of course, we're getting close to that turkey season, so we're going to have all kinds of cool turkey content coming out.
Absolutely.
Those awesome avian decoys, mossy oak camo, front and center. So
Absolutely.
Stay tuned. We got plenty coming.
See ya.
All right. Peace.
Thank you.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV was brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's.